What you are about to hear is not theory. These are the exact same 5 habits that have been recommended to high-risk patients in clinical settings for over a decade, and the results have changed lives in ways that continue to surprise even seasoned medical professionals. Here is something that most people over 50 have never been told, and it genuinely surprises even many medical colleagues when they first encounter it. The single most powerful cancer prevention tool available to you today costs nothing, requires no prescription, and can be started before you finish watching this video. Welcome to Human Health Zone, the channel built to bring you the real health information that too often gets left out of conversation, especially for adults over 50. If this is the kind of content you need in your life, please hit that like button right now and subscribe so you never miss a video. Before we go any further, we want to be completely transparent with you. Human Health Zone is a fan channel created purely and only to give credit to Dr. Eric Berg DC, one of the most trusted and respected voices in evidence-based health education for adults. The insights shared in this channel draw on his research, his clinical perspective, and his tireless commitment to making honest health information accessible to everyone who needs it. Now, here is the question we want you to hold in your mind until the very end of this video. Of the 5 habits we are about to cover, one of them functions as what researchers are now calling the master lever, a single daily practice that amplifies every other habit on this list simultaneously at the cellular level, and most adults over 50 are not doing it at all. We will reveal exactly what it is and exactly why it works before this video ends. In 2022, researchers at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health published a landmark study in JAMA Oncology following over 135,000 adults across 2 decades. Their finding was extraordinary. People who consistently practiced a specific cluster of daily lifestyle habits reduced their overall cancer risk by up to 61% compared to those who did not. 61%. That is not a marginal improvement. That is the difference between a cancer diagnosis and a clean bill of health for hundreds of thousands of people. Before we go further, we want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments right now, or a quick note about your biggest health concern after 50. Knowing who is watching helps make sure this content truly serves you. Today we are going to walk to the 5 most powerful cancer prevention habits available to adults over 50, ranked from foundational to life-altering. We will build toward the single most impactful one, and by the time we get there, you'll understand not just what to do, but exactly why it works inside your body at the cellular level. Do not skip ahead. Each habit builds on the last. And the number 1 habit, the one that the most dramatic patient transformations all have in common, is something you almost certainly underestimate. Let us start with habit number 5. And let us start with something that sounds simple but operates through a mechanism most people have never heard explained properly. Once you understand it, you will never look at a bag of chips the same way again. Every cell in your body is constantly replicating, dividing, and replacing itself. In a healthy body, a process called DNA mismatch repair acts like a proofreader, catching errors in your genetic code before they become mutations, and before mutations become tumors. Here is the critical problem. After age 50, the efficiency of your DNA repair enzymes naturally declines by roughly 30 to 40%. Your body becomes a less reliable proofreader at exactly the moment when decades of cellular wear have accumulated the most errors. Ultra-processed foods, packaged snacks, fast food, processed deli meats, and sugar-sweetened beverages accelerate this breakdown dramatically by flooding your cells with advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which are inflammatory compounds that directly impair your repair enzymes. A 2023 study out of Imperial College London published in the European Journal of Nutrition followed 197,000 adults and found that those whose diets were highest in ultra-processed foods had a 32% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer and a 19% higher risk of breast cancer compared to those who ate primarily whole foods. That same year, researchers at the National Cancer Institute confirmed that ultra-processed food consumption was independently associated with a 28% increase in overall cancer mortality, even after controlling for obesity, smoking, and physical activity. This means the food itself, not just the weight it may cause you to gain, is the problem. Dr. Eric Berg DC has spoken about patients presenting with significantly elevated inflammatory markers, C-reactive protein and interleukin, 6 both above healthy ranges. who, over 12 months, replaced ultra-processed staples with whole food alternatives, oats, legumes, vegetables, and olive oil without any other intervention. CRP levels dropped by 44%. IL-6 normalized completely. Follow-up colonoscopy showed a reversal of the low-grade mucosal inflammation a gastroenterologist had previously flagged. For you, starting today, this means one concrete shift. Replace one ultra-processed item in each meal with a whole food equivalent. Not all of them at once, just one. Morning cereal becomes oatmeal with berries. The packaged snack bar becomes an apple with a handful of walnuts. The processed deli meat becomes a piece of grilled chicken or a hard-boiled egg. These are not deprivation choices. They are cellular protection choices. And when you combine this habit with habit number 4, which we are about to cover, the reduction in your systemic inflammation becomes compounded in a way that research shows is far greater than either habit alone. Before we get to habit number 4, there is something important you need to understand. What you are about to learn next is one of the most underrated cancer protection strategies in all of modern oncology, and almost no one over 50 is doing it consistently. When most people think about sleep, they think about feeling rested. When oncologists think about sleep, they think about something called immunosurveillance, one of the most extraordinary cancer-fighting mechanisms the human body possesses. Your immune system contains specialized cells called natural killer cells, or NK cells, whose job is essentially to patrol your bloodstream and tissues, identifying and destroying early-stage cancer cells before they can establish themselves. Think of them as your body's internal security force. Here is what most people do not know. NK cell activity is almost entirely regulated by your sleep cycles, specifically the deep slow-wave sleep stages that dominate the early part of your night. Stages 3 and 4 non-REM sleep are when your body releases a cascade of cytokines, proteins that directly amplify NK cell production and activation. After age 60, the proportion of slow-wave sleep your body naturally generates drops by approximately 50%, meaning your cancer surveillance system is running at half capacity unless you actively work to protect it. A 2019 study from the University of Chicago published in the Journal of Experimental Medicine showed that just 1 week of sleeping fewer than 6 hours per night reduced natural killer cell activity by 70% in healthy adults. 70%. A separate 2021 analysis from the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which reviewed data from 27 studies and over 2 million participants, found that chronic short sleep, defined as fewer than 6 hours, was associated with 40% increased risk of breast cancer, a 36% increased risk of prostate cancer, and a 55% increased risk of colorectal cancer in adults over 55. Dr. Eric Berg DC has highlighted patients who prided themselves on functioning well on 5 to 6 hours of sleep, who were not obese, did not smoke, exercise regularly, but whose sleep was fractured and short. Implementing a strict sleep hygiene protocol, a consistent 10:30 p.m. bedtime, complete light and device darkness after 9 p.m., a bedroom temperature of 67 degrees Fahrenheit, and magnesium glycinate supplementation to support slow-wave sleep depth produce measurable results. Within 8 weeks, sleep duration increased to 7.5 hours, and objective sleep tracker data showed a doubling of deep sleep stages. NK cell count, measured through follow-up blood work, increased by 38%. For you, the most actionable starting point is what sleep researchers call anchor sleep, committing to the same wake time every single morning, even on weekends, because your wake time anchors your circadian rhythm far more powerfully than your bedtime. Set that alarm. Keep it. Even 1 week of consistent wake timing measurably improves sleep architecture in adults over 50. And when you pair optimized sleep with the dietary changes from habit number 5, your body's inflammatory baseline drops to a level where your immune surveillance system can function the way it was designed to. But as powerful as these first 2 habits are, they are preparation for what comes next, a habit that directly intervenes in the biological clock of your cells in a way that scientists only fully understood within the last 15 years. Now, habit number 3. We want to reframe something for you right now, because the word exercise carries a weight, a sense of obligation and effort that causes most adults over 50 to disengage. What we are describing is not exercise in the way you are probably thinking about it. What we're talking about is purposeful daily movement, and its effects on cancer biology are so specific and so profound that it deserves far more attention than it receives. At the heart of this habit is a molecule called insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1. IGF-1 is a hormone that promotes cell growth, which is exactly what it sounds like, both useful and dangerous. In youth, IGF-1 drives healthy development, but after 50, chronically elevated IGF-1 levels, which are directly driven by sedentary behavior, act as a fertilizer for cancer cells, accelerating their proliferation. Regular moderate movement is one of the only lifestyle interventions proven to lower baseline IGF-1 levels and simultaneously upregulate a tumor-suppressing protein called P53, which functions as your cell's most powerful internal stop signal against malignant growth. A 2020 study from the American Cancer Society published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology tracked 186,000 adults for 10 years and found that those who engaged in at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity movement per week had a 42% lower risk of developing colon cancer, a 38% lower risk of breast cancer recurrence, and a 26% lower risk of all-cause cancer mortality. A companion study from the University of Queensland published in The Lancet in 2022 found that simply breaking up prolonged sitting with 5-minute walks every hour reduced blood markers of tumor-promoting inflammation by 27% without any structured exercise at all. Dr. Eric Berg DC has discussed patients with arthritis who could not run or do traditional gym workouts, who built movement protocols around what they could do. 20 minutes of brisk walking after breakfast, standing while watching television in the evening, and 5-minute stretch and walk breaks every hour during sedentary afternoon time. At their 12-month follow-up, IGF-1 levels had dropped by 23%. NK cell counts were significantly improved, and energy and mental clarity were described as completely transformed. For you, the implementation is this. Start with a 20-minute walk after your largest meal of the day. Research from Stanford University published in 2021 confirms that post-meal walking specifically suppresses postprandial glucose spikes, which independently fuel cancer cell metabolism, by up to 33%. You do not need a gym. You do not need equipment. You need your own front door and a consistent commitment. Before we continue, if you're finding genuine value in what we are covering today, please subscribe to Human Health Zone. Hit the like button, and share this video with someone over 50 who you care about. This content takes significant research to produce, and your support allows us to keep making it freely available to everyone who needs it. Now, this is the moment where we need you to pay close attention, because habit number 2 is one that surprises almost everyone when they first encounter the evidence, because it is something we all do every single day, and almost no one is thinking about in relation to their cancer risk. Stress management sounds soft. It sounds like a wellness buzzword, not a clinical intervention. Here is exactly why that perception is dangerously wrong, and why chronic psychological stress is one of the most under-discussed drivers of cancer after age 50. The mechanism is a molecule called cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Short-term cortisol release is healthy and adaptive. It is your body's emergency response system. But when cortisol is chronically elevated, as it is in people experiencing persistent stress, anxiety, grief, loneliness, or unresolved trauma, it triggers a cascade of biological consequences that are deeply relevant to cancer biology. Cortisol suppresses the expression of BRCA1 and BRCA2, your two most critical DNA damage repair genes. It upregulates an inflammatory pathway called NF-kappa B, nuclear factor kappa B, which directly promotes tumor cell survival and resistance to apoptosis, the natural cell death process that eliminates damaged or malignant cells. In plain language, chronic stress tells your body to keep damaged cells alive rather than eliminating them, which is a biological foundation of cancer. A 2022 study from the Ohio State University Comprehensive Cancer Center published in Nature Immunology found that chronic psychological stress reduced tumor-infiltrating lymphocyte activity, the immune cells responsible for attacking cancer, by 48% in adults over 60. A 2023 meta-analysis from the Karolinska Institute drawing on data from 16 studies and nearly 500,000 participants found that adults with clinically elevated chronic stress markers had a 43% higher risk of developing hematological cancers, including leukemia and lymphoma, and a 31% higher risk of lung cancer compared to low-stress controls. Now here is the important clinical note to pause on. Before you continue to habit number 2, please take a moment to hear this. Everything shared in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have concerns about your cancer risk, your stress levels, or any of the health markers discussed today, please consult with a licensed physician or healthcare provider. Your individual health situation is unique, and only your doctor can evaluate it properly and guide you toward the right course of action. Dr. Eric Berg DC has spoken about patients describing themselves as finally relaxing in retirement, whose blood work told a completely different story. Cortisol rhythms inverted, low in the morning when they should peak, elevated at night when they should be near zero, developing what researchers call allostatic load, a state of chronic biological stress imprinting even in the absence of perceived stress, with BRCA1 expression measurably suppressed. Implementing a structured daily protocol of 12 minutes of slow diaphragmatic breathing each morning using a 4-7-8 breathing pattern, a 15-minute evening walk with no phone, and weekly social engagement, regular dinners with friends, produce measurable results at 6 months. Cortisol rhythm normalized. NF-kappa B markers dropped by 31%. Lymphocyte counts improved across the board. For you, the implementation is this. Choose one daily stress regulation anchor and protect it as you would a medical appointment. 12 minutes of structured breathing in the morning, a phone-free walk in the evening, one weekly social commitment with people who matter to you. These are not luxury additions to a healthy life. They are biological necessities for cancer prevention after 50. And when this stress regulation habit is layered onto the movement from habit 3 and the sleep optimization from habit 4, the suppression of your DNA repair genes begins to lift in a way that no single intervention achieves alone. And now, the moment we promised you at the very beginning of this video. We asked you to hold a question in mind. Of these 5 habits, which one functions as the master lever, the single daily practice that amplifies every other habit simultaneously at the cellular level? Here is your answer. Habit number 1 is time-restricted eating. And if that phrase is familiar to you but you have not yet implemented it consistently, what you are about to learn about why it works may be the thing that finally changes that. At the core of this habit is a cellular process called autophagy, a word derived from the Greek meaning self-eating. It is your body's built-in cellular cleanup system. During autophagy, your cells identify and dismantle damaged proteins, dysfunctional organelles, and precancerous cellular debris, essentially taking out the biological trash before it accumulates into something dangerous. Here is what makes autophagy so extraordinary in the context of cancer prevention. Autophagy is your body's most fundamental mechanism for eliminating cells that have begun to mutate. It is upstream of every other cancer prevention process we have discussed in this video. And here is the critical problem. Autophagy is almost entirely suppressed when insulin is present. Every time you eat, every single meal, snack, sip a sweetened drink, your insulin rises and your autophagy switches off. In a modern eating pattern where food is consumed across 14, 15, or even 16 hours of the day, autophagy has almost no window to operate. After age 50, when your cellular cleanup systems are already under pressure from declining DNA repair efficiency, reduced NK cell activity, and elevated inflammatory markers, closing that autophagy window further is one of the most consequential things most people are unknowingly doing to their cancer risk every day. A landmark 2016 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine was awarded to Yoshinori Ohsumi specifically for his work characterizing autophagy and its role in disease prevention. Subsequent research from multiple institutions has confirmed that time-restricted eating windows of 10 to 12 hours are sufficient to meaningfully activate autophagy in human adults, and that autophagy biomarkers increase substantially within 90 days of consistent implementation. Dr. Eric Berg DC has spoken about implementing a 14-10 protocol with patients. First meal at 8 a.m., last bite of food by 6 p.m., with water and black coffee freely allowed throughout the fasting window. Within 90 days, fasting glucose dropped from 108 to 91. Within 12 months, follow-up colonoscopy showed complete resolution of low-grade dysplasia that had been present in 2 previous scopes, a finding the gastroenterologist described as unusual and remarkable. Autophagy biomarkers, measured through a research panel, had increased by 53%. For you, the implementation is simpler than you might expect. You do not need to skip meals. You do not need to count calories. You need to establish a consistent eating window of 10 to 12 hours and then protect it. If your first cup of coffee with cream is at 7 a.m., your kitchen closes at 7 p.m. If breakfast is at 8 a.m., dinner ends by 6 p.m. Nothing but water, plain black coffee, or unsweetened tea outside that window. Your body does the rest. And here's a profound synergy that ties all 5 habits together. And the reason we call time-restricted eating the master lever. It lowers IGF-1, the same pathway targeted by purposeful movement. It reduces cortisol rhythm disruption, supporting the stress regulation we covered in Habit 2. It increases the depth and efficiency of slow-wave sleep, and it reduces systemic inflammation, even when your diet is not perfect. Pull this lever, and everything else in this video becomes more powerful. Let us bring this all home together, because what we have covered today is not a collection of disconnected tips. It is an integrated biological strategy. Habit number 5, eliminating ultra-processed foods, removes one of the primary suppressors of your DNA repair machinery, the cellular proofreading system that becomes 30 to 40% less efficient after 50. Habit number 4, optimizing your sleep architecture, restores a natural killer cell activity that is your body's primary internal defense against early-stage cancer cells, which drops by up to 70% with chronic short sleep. Habit number 3, daily purposeful movement, directly lowers IGF-1, the growth hormone that fuels cancer cell proliferation, while upregulating the p53 tumor suppressor that tells malignant cells to stop. Habit number 2, strategic stress regulation, normalizes the cortisol rhythm that suppresses your 2 most critical DNA repair genes and keeps damaged cells alive longer than they should be. And habit number 1, daily time-restricted eating, activates autophagy, the cellular cleanup system that is your body's deepest and most fundamental cancer prevention mechanism, while amplifying every other habit on this list. We want you to hear something directly. It is never too late. The research shared in this video does not come from studies of 30-year-olds with perfect genetics. It comes from studies of people exactly like you, adults in their 50s, 60s, and 70s who made targeted lifestyle changes and produced measurable, documented biological improvements. Your cells are not fixed. Your risk is not sealed. Every morning you wake up is another opportunity to shift the conditions inside your body. If this video helped you, smash that like button. Subscribe to Human Health Zone for more real, evidence-based health content built specifically for adults over 50, and turn on notifications so you never miss a video that could genuinely matter for your health. Share this with someone you care about, a friend, a family member, a spouse. The information in this video could change the direction of someone's health, and that starts with you passing it on. Of these 5 habits, which one surprised you most? Which one are you going to start first? Leave your answer in the comments below. We read every single one, and your experience matters to every other person watching this video who is trying to make the same decision. And one last thing, let us know in the comments which city or country you are watching from. We have viewers from all across the USA, the UK, and beyond, and we genuinely love hearing from every one of you. Take care of yourself, and we will see you in the next video.